So as we have always been late to the party, today we have something from the late 90s. A name that has been known in the past, in the present, and will be known in the future as well. Not this one. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting to you the Mitsubishi Lancer.
So thank you for the introduction there, Ruben, and coming straight to the car, and we start off with the looks. Now for starters, the looks gives you this very boxy feeling, you know. Yes, it does have curves. Mostly the curves are near the wheel arches, I guess. But like on the overall side, the car feels a bit boxy, which tells me like the guy who designed it was a fan of squares or boxes, or maybe he was born in a box. We don't know that, but one good thing about him, maybe he used to smile a lot, which does show right there. So even when you get on the inside of this car, you get nothing fancy as such, but you get everything that you would get back in the day. You get 3 knobs to adjust temperatures inside the car. You get 2 little keys here, one which has got a snowflake there for various things. You get another knob which shows you that air goes out the window somewhere. But even back in the day, you had cool features like you had electronic windows. You had electronic door mirrors. You even had a pointy little thing that would put the antenna up there with just the flick of a key. Grey and black interiors, nothing too fancy with wood and all that, was just nice, just to suit the mood for the young man back in the day, I guess. Now in terms of interior space, yes, the car is spacious, I'll give you that. Good legroom up front. You have a medium-sized glove box that hold small chubby water bottles in the glove box. Even though you have 2 cup holders, you have space to keep your coins, so when you're at the traffic lights and you get somebody knocking on your window, that's there. Coming onto the back, yes, you do have a lot of space in the back as well. Legroom, I don't know for like big adults, like whether that's very comfortable, but you get a black armrest. I think that's enough for your elbows. Moving on to the boot, yes, again, a lot of place. You have a can of oil, as you can see, a tripod, a black bag, and I think Ruben can fit in there as well. So after the interiors and the spaces, now we come to how this car drives and how it feels and what's under the hood. So what's under the hood is a 1.5 liter naturally aspirated petrol engine. Now judging on how it feels, I would say it's not very fast. It feels kind of sloppy, okay? Even though, like, you know, a lot of you out there will say that Lancer has got a pretty big name, and yeah, like, you know, it's fast and all, but trust me, it's not fast. My 19-year-old CLO feels faster than this. But when I say it's slow, I don't really mean like it's not going to get going. Like even if somebody pulls you off like in a straight line, trust me, eventually you will catch them. Next up, the handling. The car is stiff. Okay, the suspension is really stiff. It's hard. So probably when you're taking your mom for shopping or taking your dad out for a match or something like that, trust me, they're not going to have a very comfortable ride, because they're going to feel the bumps, and probably your mother will complain about a backache by the time she's home. So then, if there's so many things that are pointing south for this car, why is this car so good? Like, why is there such a big hype to its name? Okay, now I'll tell you what the Japanese actually did with this. Now when it comes to this car, yeah, they didn't plonk a big engine in there nothing of that sort, but where they did focus on is the handling of this car. The chassis, the suspension setup on this thing is just perfect to carve corners. That's where this car outshines the rest. With the Lancer, you can just carry more speed into the bends without having to fear quite a lot about the understeer, because it'll stick and won't dip and set on one knee. The Japs paid attention to the handling rather than just putting a big powerful engine in there, and that shows. It's like even if you get overtaken in the straights, you will catch the other guy in the bends. And that's why the Japanese took their cars to the hills to understand things better rather than just putting them in a straight line and racing the other guy. Now, even though this engine might be a slouch overall, the Japs really meant to do with this car was to allow the common man to take it into the tuning world and play the game that they fancied. They built a cheaper, lower-end version of their actual hardcore Lancers out there, so that guys like us had a chance of owning a fast car and giving us the chance of competing with the big boys out there. That's why it doesn't have a big engine under the bonnet, but if you see the bay, you know that there's room in there to swap a 4G63, and you know the kind of power outputs you get with that. The Lancer was one of the cars that fit perfectly into the tuning world. Endless amount of options. You could do up the car according to what kind of sport you fancied. Maybe drag, street, drag, drift, you name it, and they had it in the tuning world. If you were an idiot to rice it out, you had the options for that as well. And by rice, I don't mean putting rice on the car, but fancy stickering, big front and rear ends, chrome spinners, neon lights, you know the list. The all show no go list basically. So now you see what I mean. I mean, not every one of us can afford the best Mitsubishi had to offer, like the Evos and the big stuff they had. So what they did was took out the Evo badges and gave us the GLX badges. Thoughtful, no? They just kept everything down to the basics with this. Gave us just what we needed and then gave us the key to enter the tuning world. Now the Lancer is a big name worldwide, known mostly for its rallying pedigree, with different championships under their name. The Evos were so good that they were good enough to stand up against quite a lot of big names in the game. Their potentials to stand up against supercars gave them their well-deserved place in history after being just four-door saloon cars. The Evos made a point that you don't need a fast two-door impractical supercar to go fast. They said you can do the same with a four-door saloon car, and that's what they made here. And the Japs really did a good job putting all their technology and mathematics to test, because it proves how good this car is, even though it's just a lower-end version of the hardcore Evos out there. And this is what this car is in the end. It'll go down as one of the best in the world. A gift from Japan, and a damn good one.